That's a shapeshifter. Story time. Growing up in Haiti, or anyone who has Haitian parents can tell you that there is such a thing as shapeshifters, lugawas in Haiti. And that is the reason why they also tell you whenever you hear a cat sounding like that outside your house at a certain time at night, you should not go outside to go see what's wrong with the cat, because usually it's not a cat and you will not live to see or tell the story of what you witnessed. So I remember one time we were all in the house. It was late, very, very late. Usually we'll stay up even though we cannot be outside at a certain time. If you go to Haiti, you should always listen to the locals when they tell you do not go at a certain area to a certain area, or at a certain time go outside, because trust me, you won't make it back in the house. And I'm not even over exaggerating. But anyway, so we were all in the house. We were young, but there was a bunch of grown-ups in the house also. Everybody's sleeping, and we were all waking up by this big boom that was on top of the house. And in Haitian houses in Haiti, they actually don't have like real like roof like we'd have here, but they have like metals. So any little thing you can hear it, even if the rain. We usually are able to fall asleep with the rain sound because it's just so loud and it's so soothing and all that stuff. But when the nightmare starts, trust me, you will hear every single thing. So we're sleeping and we're all waking up at this boom. Even the children, you know how children can sleep real well, right? They sleep through everything. We all were waking up, but the grown-ups already know because they're so used to it. And also we know a well-known luga in the town that everybody could respect, because we know how powerful she is, and a lot of people have been taken out by her, but they can never prove that it was her until one day. So anyways, we're all sleeping and we're waking up by the sound, and we just hear footsteps on top of the house, just walking as if like it's like, you know, grains falling in the house, but it's like real loud footsteps, just walking, and all the adults just start praying, and the children were just scared because we're so used to hearing stories about that happening, and eventually it happened to us. So we're like scared, and the adults are praying, even though like voodoo is a religion in Haiti, they still pray. A lot of people pray but still practice voodoo, because that's really our religion. Just like the Catholic people, they also practice voodoo, but also they tell you that it's bad. Anyways, so they're praying. The children are trying to figure out what's going on. While the baby, my aunt had a baby that was just a few weeks old, not even a month, a few weeks old. The baby just kept crying nonstop. And they usually, whenever they come in on top of your house, they're coming for the baby, not children who are a certain age. They're coming for the innocent, right? So the baby's crying. The people are praying. So there's a lot going on, and the noise on top and everything. All of a sudden, the noise stopped, but we hear a cat right by the door, literally right at the door, right? This cat just sounded like a baby. It's literally almost matching the sound of the baby that's crying. The cat sounded like a baby, scratching at the door, making noises, scratching at the door, making noise. And that's when the prayers started getting louder and louder. And eventually the children fell asleep because the cat just kept going. I fell asleep because I was young at the time. Then eventually we heard the story the next day, but then what really made us believe it is what we saw the next day, what we experienced the next day. So we fell asleep. The adults, I guess, continue to do whatever they're doing. The next day we wake up to the horror of everything. The baby that was crying was basically covered in ants, covered head to toe, ants eating the baby's skin, everything. I mean, I should have given you guys a warning. Eating everything, but of course, you know, everything is still intact, but the skin is bite marks from the ants. Baby gone, pass. Don't know why, don't know how, but the baby's gone. What happened last night happened. Next morning, wake up, baby's gone. And that was the first child that my aunt lost. And then finally after that, she just kept losing children up until 7 kids. She lost 7 kids until she actually stopped having kids. Every time one passed, she has another one. Every time one passed, I'm like, as someone who has common sense, you would think, okay, I would stop after maybe the 3rd or 4th one. Well, she just kept having children. Eventually, she decided, okay, well, I'm not going to have any more kids if I'm going to keep losing them. But when she had her first son, which is the oldest child, that child survived because she didn't live in the house. She didn't live in that town when she had that child. So that child survived. But eventually, she lost her life to the same thing. And also, I lost my godmom to the same thing. I have a story for that. Also, my older sister who lives right now in the United States, we almost lost her to a neighbor who was practicing brujeria, voodoo, very good person, good people, but it was a mistake that happened, and we were able to figure it all out. If you guys want to hear about that story, I will tell you. But my mom even sent money for us to buy like coffin for her, preparing for her funeral and everything. Now she's a nurse. Anyway, guys, bye. Story time on the time that I saw my neighbor who had already passed away going to go get water while I was on my way back from getting water to go to the house. And when I got to the house, I found out that she had passed away that morning, and I didn't even know that. So this story is kind of crazy. I'm laughing because I couldn't sleep for a good month and a half after all this happened, right? So I told this story during Halloween a couple years ago on YouTube, and the feedback was crazy. So I figured I'll just bring it back since TikTok people don't know about it. So going back to Haiti, I was very, very young. We had this neighbor that used to sell those things that you will light up at night if you have mosquitoes. They shape like a snake. I don't know what they're called. Maybe if you know, let me know in the comment below. But she used to sell those things, and one day she just fell sick. Very, very sick. We just never saw her. We will go to her. So every time we order, this person will come to the door and give us what we need. But Sister Mary, which is the lady who always give us the things that we need, just hasn't been showing up. But as a child, I'm like, okay, well, it's her house. Maybe she's either in the house, don't want to come out, or she went to the next town over to go visit her family. In Haiti, that's a normal thing. You can just go visit your family for like 6 months and then come back, right? So eventually my aunt came and told us that Sister Mary, that was her name, is not feeling well. She's at home, but she's just not feeling well. As children, we just let it go. Okay, well, Sister Mary's sick, whatever. Well, one day, I was sent to get water. It was my turn to go get water. So the way to go get water is basically, it's like 15 minutes away, but you do carry the water, and we take turn in the house as children. They sent different people different days, right? So this one particular day, it was early in the morning, they sent me to go get water. I'd say maybe, well, not really early, it was summertime, I'd say around like 10, 11. They sent me to go get water. I went to go collect water, and as I was coming back from collecting water, I'm walking down. It's 15-minute walk. I'm carrying the thing on top of my head. I'm walking down, and I saw someone who looks like Sister Mary. And my aunt was saying how frail she was. She's losing a lot of weight, blah, blah, blah. But when I saw this person, she looked just like I remember Sister Mary to be, like how she was before, you know, thick. You know, she wasn't like fat, but she was thick. You know, she looked fine. She looked normal. She didn't look sick. So I saw her. I said hello to her. We're talking. And, you know, I told her, we haven't seen you. We heard that you were sick. Yeah, so we heard that you were sick. How are things doing? You look like you're doing much better now. And she answered me like normal, like someone she knows, right? So I just went on about my business. I told her, have a good day. She told me she was going to go collect water, and she had the bucket in her hand and everything. So I told her, have a good day, and I continue on my merry way. So I ended up going home that day, and I told my sister, I'm like, yo, you will never guess who I just saw at the water thing, right? So I told her a whole story about this lady that I just saw, and we know her because she's our neighbor. So I'm like, yeah, I saw her. You know, she looked good. I don't know what aunt was talking about because she doesn't look sick. Her eyes literally opened up as if she just saw a ghost. I'm like, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? She says, oh, nothing. So I'm like, okay. I just went about my day and continued doing whatever I was doing until a few minutes later, I hear people screaming and yelling. Well, the news have been spreading in the whole town that Sister Mary has passed away. I'm looking at my sister and I'm thinking, what the fuck? What do you mean Sister Mary passed away? I just saw Sister Mary. What do you mean? And she looked fine. Well, everybody's yelling. Nobody's telling me what's going on. Then they finally, my sister told me, oh yeah, Sister Mary died this morning. I'm like, there's no way. How could Sister Mary die this morning? I just told you I saw her this morning. She's like, well, that's the crazy thing, because you're telling me you just saw her and Sister Mary died before you went to go collect water. From there on, I kid you not, I could not speak. I could not move. Everything was crazy.
Here we go. Virginia teen dies after she tried to summon a Haitian voodoo god, Papa Legua. So Love decided to dabble in the darker voodoo arts, but she ain't got no knowledge of how this thing really go. This is why you gotta watch when you practicing something without having a self-evaluation journey that you've been on, you hear me? I don't know why you thought summoning an African descendant god would help you. A papa in Haiti is known as the Great Executioner, and it's said that he could speak many different languages and persuade people at his will. And once again, he resides at the spiritual crossroads. So let me give y'all some insight every time you face with a difficult decision you gotta make. Rather that being life or death decisions or career-based decisions. Quit thinking about calling on some deity gonna point you in the right direction if you haven't done the self-work. Because you could get fooled by a spirit that you might think is holy and lovely for a spirit that's there to take over your will. So she gets in a Facebook group and start telling the people that she's about to start doing new spell work and ain't nothing wrong with trying new things. Yeah, alright. And I quote, let people have their own religion. So she started telling people, stop saying I'm from God or you can be from God. I'm wicked and I always will be. So shut the F up and let me do what I want to do. Alright. Now, Wiccan means a religion influenced by pre-Christian beliefs and the practices of Western Europe that affirms the supernatural powers. It's a form of paganism, and this has nothing to do with voodoo practices. So now, I guess her and her ex must have get into it and had a fallout. So she get on Facebook talking about she about to go put a hex on her ex-girlfriend. Now, mind you, her ex-girlfriend is African-American. Let me give you a little quick insight on when to put spells on people or hex work on people. And they kind of taught you that on Vampire Diaries with Bonnie. Now, remember when she spoke with her ancestors and her ancestors told her, if you keep drawing power from your ancestors, it's going to be a blowback to that. Which is why when Bonnie would use her powers, her nose would start bleeding. Because whatever you take from nature, you must replenish back, which is called the circle of life, baby. Now, here's an example up here where somebody also was trying to use that voodoo stuff and it fired back on them. I prayed for lots of money, even though I had money. I was greedy and I stopped my voodoo sacrifices. I was punished by losing my leg in an accident. I'm getting money, which is worthless to me. I'd rather have my legs back. The woman I wanted to marry left me because of my leg. I lost my promising career and I had to totally change my college studies for a degree that was worthless to me. All because I messed with the spirits. Tuh. And you keep on playing and not listening, you're gonna learn the hard way, baby. So back to Kate. So now we get a picture where she tried to make a voodoo doll that looked like her, got the girl hair twisted like dreads. We don't know what petition she wrote. We don't know if she had needles in the doll. She might have even had her real hair samples in the damn doll, you hear me? Now I want to know, baby, what in your right mind think that you can call on an African deity to do some harm to an African person and you are a European woman? In what world do you think that makes sense, baby? Like, come on now, love. And then people tried to warn you before doing this. They told you not to go along with this. They told you not to move forward with this. Practicing other people's African spirituality when you're not African is dangerous. So now I start getting deeper for her. You saw Papa Legua today, huh? You thought you saw him. And that's the problem. You getting indulged in something where you never was initiated inside the culture, mama. You gotta think, man. Nah. Kayla was a beautiful woman, had a beautiful soul. She done a lot for her community. She was a stand-up woman. She just got involved in some things without the proper knowledge that led to some bad outcome. Now, so Kaylin eventually died in the bathtub, and she left behind a beautiful daughter named Aaliyah, which is very sad, baby. She adored her daughter greatly. Just for her daughter to have to go through that, prayers and condolences to her family. Now later on, a few spiritual leaders did a reading on the woman and noticed that she wasn't summoning Papa Legua, but Barun. And because of shows like American Horror Story, where they gave you a mixture of Barun and Papa Legua, they had you thinking that he was Papa Legua, but Papa Legua on American Horror Story, that was actually depicted as Barun.
Good morning. It's 9:34 in the morning, so it's time for another story. And this time the story is being recorded late because I spent my entire morning talking about the anguish of what it means to be a black woman in America. So today calls for a feel-good story, and I'm going to tell you the most popular folktale in Haiti. That's right, it's The Little Mermaid, but darker. This most likely will be divided in 3 parts or 4 because I'm taking a lot of time to talk about it. But just so you understand, the majority of the time the story is being told, the protagonist is a fish. But Usually, as you grow up, it makes more sense that the protagonist is a mermaid or a merman. Most of the time, the protagonist is male because the leading romance protagonist, the second one, is a woman who goes to the water. She's a little girl. But at times, you will find that the protagonist is a mermaid, a woman, because the leading person that's going to be the love interest is the little boy. All right, let's get started. The Little Mermaid with a Haitian epice. Also, a lot of Haitians believe in mermaids. So there was a young girl, and we're going to call her Rose, who had a brother named Richard, a younger brother. Every morning, they would go to the spring to get water to do their daily chores. Whether that's cooking, cleaning, whatever they needed the water for, they would go to the river to get it. One morning, Rose heads to the river by herself, and as she's getting some water, she has a ring, a silver ring on one of her fingers, obviously, and it slips down and it falls in the stream. Now, she was really fond of this ring, so obviously she's really sad. She's like, oh my God, I lost my ring. Wah, wah. And then as she's like frantically looking for it, out pops the head. And in this story, I'm going to make him a mermaid. So out pops a little head. And so as the head goes up, she realizes it's a fish. It's a man, but it's a fish. And the fish spits up her ring. So she takes the ring and she thanks the fish. And the fish, shockingly to her, speaks. The fish says, hi, I'm Tezin. And she says, hi, I'm Rose. Tezin says, this is my water. This is my spring. If you want water, like clean water, because your water is clean, but I know where the real good shit is. If you want better water, you could just holler at me and I'll go get it for you. And she goes, oh, thank you. But how do I holler at you? And so he teaches her this little song. And so he goes, if you ever need to reach me, sing this song. Tezin, Tezin, mon ami, Tezin. Tezin, Tezin, mon ami, Tezin. You get it? It literally translates to Tezin, Tezin, my friend, Tezin. But in the book, she has it written in a more like, I don't know. She has it written how she wants. But that's how I remember the song. Part 2.
So, this happened in Miami. And yeah, I still live in Miami. I was like around 6 or 7. This was like back in 2006, I believe. So we used to stay in this building, and in the building, it was to be full of Haitians, full of Haitians. If you're Haitian and you know what's a luga, then you know what I mean. So it was one night. It was me and my brother. We was in the room. We was sleeping. My mama and my dad was in their room. So it was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. We sleeping. We little kids. We sleeping. Blah blah. Then randomly something happened, bruh. Something told us to get up. We woke up. Literally, me and him woke up. And I swear, bruh, this Lugau lady, bruh, we've been having problems with for the longest. She was in our room. Like, she was literally in our room, bruh. Like, literally in our room, staring at us. And we was on the wall. We, like, the TV right here and the wall right there. And we was stuck on the wall. We don't know what to do. But she was mostly coming from my little brother. Because, my little Lugaus, they like young kids. If they see a beautiful young child, they're going to take them. So as a big brother, I was not gonna let that shit happen. So I fought her. You feel me? I'm getting right with her a little bit. She low-key beat me up. But I'm getting right with her a little bit. Give her a quick zoklo and everything. Damn punch me in my rib. To this day, like, if I'm running so fast, my right hip will start hurting like crazy. So we fighting, boom, boom, boom. My little brother, he yelling. Then I start yelling. Then my mom came, burst in the room. Then she just disappeared, like boom. So my mom was like, okay, my point. A couple days later, man, my auntie, my mom, even my dad, my uncle, they all went after that lady. They whooped that lady ass. They banged on her door. They did everything it takes. To this day, bruh, that shit still scarred the fuck out of me. But it's part of being a Haitian, that's what most Haitians go through in life. Most, I can't say all, but most, you feel me? But yes, Lugaus, these vampires in Haiti, that's called Lugaus, they are real. If you're from Haiti, you know what I mean. Like, even American kids, Haitian American kids, y'all know what I mean by lugaus, bro. This shit real. It's real. Like, it's really real. It's not American vampires.
Y'all have been like damn near harassing me for these. Creepy story time. It all happened in Haiti. My mom was throwing a party, like a little get together, and everyone was having fun, but it was getting late, so everybody had to go home. After they went home, my mom heard a big sound coming from outside. It sounded like this. Yeah, like a cow. So she went outside to check. She saw a huge cow, the size of the road. No, literally, the size of the road. They know exactly why they're scared, but you might not, so let me tell you. Make it a long story short, nobody with that much money is just gonna be handing it around. So, it must be juju money. They're not falling for that. But, this is not the point of this video. I wanted to make this video to tell you that it is the month of December. Quite possibly the worst month of the year for the normal citizens, but the best month of the year for people doing witchcraft. My grandma always told me the month of December is the devil's month. Yeah. The devil goes hard on this month of December because it is the last month of the year. So he needs to put in as much work as possible. So my number one advice to you would be, do not, absolutely not, pick up any type of lower from the floor. Yapron, they will get you. And be kind. It goes a very long way.
Yes, in Haiti, please mind your business. Story time. This one is brought to you by my uncle. This is a luga story, so things might get a little weird, but bear with me. So this lady, we're gonna call her Katia, okay? She is a SW. If you don't know what a SW is, just look it up. But that night, she was out on the street, running the streets, you know, trying to sell some pussy. She was standing out there all day. She ain't had no customers. So it's getting late and she's like, you know what, maybe I should leave. But right at the moment that she's thinking that she's gonna leave, this guy in this rich, expensive car pulls up. And for that time, for somebody to have a car like that, that meant that that person had money, okay? It meant that that person meant business. So the car rolls up in front of the SW and he's like, yo, how much for? And she gives him the prices. Depending on what you want, I can provide it for you. He wanted to take her home. He didn't want service on the spot. So he wanted to take her to his house. So she agreed. She gets in his car and they start to drive away. Now the guy, there's really nothing suspicious or off-putting about him, considering like she's a SW. She's used to weirdos. She's used to creeps. So this is like, there's nothing standing out about this guy. He's on the steering wheel and she's next to him on the passenger seat. So they're driving, and y'all. And at some point, it looks like this driver is like basically falling asleep. Like he's just disassociating from the wheel and he looks like he's tired. She doesn't think anything of it and they keep going. They get a little bit further down the road. She saw something from her peripheral morph. So she does one of those and notices that the man who was driving the car turned into a dog with his two front paws on the wheel. This SW is witnessing a dog driving a car when a few seconds before it was a man. So the SW proceeds to take out her cigarette. She had a cigarette like in the back of her ear. She proceeded to take out the cigarette. She lights up the cigarette and starts to smoke. As she lights her cigarette, she starts to chant. She says, moi-même c'est petit Jacques Maget mieux. Pita au moins Jacques Maget. Jacques Maget is a loi. He don't play about his children, so I think that was just her reinforcing her protection. After she says that like 3 times, Jacques Maget c'est petit tout, the freaking dog next to him looks like something startled the dog, and the motherfucker started morphing back into a human. And now it's back to a man driving the car. Now, of course, the story does not end here. The man looks over to her and says, I feel weird. Did you see anything weird? Do you feel anything weird? The SW looking straight ahead at the road says, nope. He said, you didn't sense anything? She said, no, I've just been in this car smoking a cigarette. She said, why? You feeling something? He says, yeah, I felt a little weird. So I just wanted to know if you saw something, if you felt anything. She said, nah, I ain't see nothing. Must be something in the air. He proceeded to drive all the way to his house. She got there and was absolutely horrified. So while the guy went to go take a shower, she went into his kitchen, grabbed a knife, and kept it underneath her pillow. The whole time she was laying down like this, one arm underneath the pillow, holding on to the weapon. She would go on and do the do. She held on to that knife whole time, just in case. After they were done, it was way too dark and way too late for her to leave anyway. So she proceeded on staying the night, but she did not sleep all night. All night, she had that one hand under that pillow. The next morning, they woke up, he paid her, and she went on her way. But I was like, wait a minute, she went through with it? And she had to. If she had switched up anywhere in that timeline, that would have been it for her. Anyway, if you guys like these spooky Haitian stories, you can expect that I will be dropping another story time tomorrow. And I have an entire playlist of like 40 something videos, so go ahead and check them out. Go ahead and leave me a follow on TikTok and on Instagram. And leave me a comment letting me know what was your genuine reaction to this story. Also, thank you guys for 50,000 followers. Ay, boo-boo.
Not only are you not safe on the outside, be careful with how you reject men.